It's early morning in eastern Canada where I live, in a province called Nova Scotia. Dad's been working since 6 this morning. He and his partner Evan fish for lobsters. Today they're checking their traps, which are called pots. They're only allowed to catch lobsters during the cold months of the year, so during fishing season they work long hours. Mom's finishing the laundry before she wakes me up for school. She's a dental assistant in a town about an hour away.
Oh, grumpy this morning?
No.
No, not grumpy this morning.
My name is Hannah, and I'm 7 years old.
You gonna get up? Okay.
This is carnival week at school, and we do lots of silly things each day. Monday was bad hair day. Tuesday was funny hat day, where even the teachers wore silly hats. And today is backward inside out day. So if you think I look goofy, that's good, because that's the whole idea. I have a 13-year-old sister named Emma. I'm really looking forward to lunch hour today because Emma's going to be in the Bug on the Wall contest. Emma makes our breakfast while Mom takes a shower and gets ready for work. Mom gives each of us $2 for lunch, and we also take some snacks with us. Today we have granola bars and apples. We take 2 buses and a ferry to get to our school, which is on an island. Missy would like to come too, but our 2 other dogs will keep her company while everybody's gone. Even though it's May, temperatures often go down to freezing at night. So we stay in the warm bus while we wait for the ferry that will take us to the island. The ferry goes back and forth between the mainland and the island every hour all day long. We often have fog here, but the ferry has radar, so the captain can pilot the ferry no matter how foggy it is. We stay warm in the ferry's waiting room while cars and trucks are loading. The ferry ride takes about 2 minutes. When the boat lands, we take another bus to school. The first thing we all want to see when we get to school is whether the eggs for our science project have hatched.
Mom, are you joining 2 partners?
Look at that one that's bunched in there. I know.
Wow, it worked! Some baby chickens have hatched, and some eggs have cracks where the chicks inside are pecking their way out.
I think that one's scrawny. That one looks like...
Look, the fog's gone and it's a beautiful day. We often get to school an hour before class starts and have time to play outside if the weather's nice. Our teacher just had a baby, so we have a substitute teacher until our regular teacher is back. This chart shows what our class will be doing today. Our first project is to make a nature scene and then present it to the class. Our school is one of the smallest in the province. There are 150 students in grades 1 through 12.
He's all alone. Well, maybe he'll...
I'm in second grade, but our room also has third and fourth graders because there are only a few kids in each grade. Sometimes I listen to what the older kids are learning. Then we learn about surveys and graphs. We asked students what kind of ice cream they liked best. Then we made a bar graph that shows what we found. The higher the bar, the more people liked that flavor. Our favorite flavor was Moon Mist. Hardly anybody chose vanilla. If we need help, our teacher sometimes asks an older student to work with us. Uh-oh, that's the fire alarm. We have to leave the school and meet in the playground. We all wait to see if this is a practice or if there's really a fire.
Does that mean that it was smoking?
The principal says it's a practice drill, so we head back to class. During lunch hour, we have the bug on the wall competition. The older students form teams that pick someone to tape to the wall with duct tape. Emma's the bug for her team. Each team has 3 minutes to tape their bug to the wall. There are some rules. We can't put tape near the neck, and we can't put tape on anyone's skin. The bug stands on a pile of books that they'll pull out when the competition starts. The student that stays stuck to the wall longest wins. Almost as soon as the books are pulled out, Emma slides down to the floor. Look, the winner is still hanging there.
I think we got the record. Anybody else follow?
12, take away 3.
We have fun in school, but we learn a lot too. In fact, Emma says our school was named the top high school in Nova Scotia.
55.
Very good.
Yes!
It's early afternoon, and Dad's still fishing. Dad and him check their lobster pots every couple of days. All 425 of them. Each pot weighs about as much as I do, so moving them around is hard work. Several pots are hooked together with a long rope, and a machine pulls each pot up out of the water. Evan takes out each lobster and measures it to be sure it's big enough to keep. If it's too small, they have to throw it back because they want to be sure plenty of lobsters get big enough to reproduce or have babies. Dad says that in some places in the world, people have caught so many fish that they're almost gone. We don't want that to happen here, so the Canadian government and lobstermen make rules about lobstering. Every family has its own fishing area that's marked by floats that are painted differently for each family. Dad puts new bait in the pot if it's needed. The bait is a smelly bag of rotten fish called herring. Lobsters go after the bait through a small hole in the trap, but once they're inside, they can't find their way out again through the nets. When all the pots from an area have been pulled up, Evan speeds up the boat and the pots are pulled off the back. Dad has to be careful not to get tangled in the rope so that he doesn't get pulled off the boat too. It can be a little tricky for Evan to run the boat here in the harbor because we have the biggest tides in the world. Twice a day, the moon's gravity pulls water from the bay into the deeper ocean. When the tide's out, which is when the water is lowest, you can see the bottom of the sea, in places where the water will be as high as a house a few hours later. But low tide is good for some people. This man is collecting snails that he'll sell to restaurants in Toronto and New York. People there pay a good price to have them for dinner. The dentist Mom works for makes copies of people's teeth that he uses to make braces and false teeth. Mom helps make the copies, or molds. She also takes x-rays of people's teeth to see if they have any problems that the dentist can't see.
You know the drill. Other hand if you can, because it makes it.
People aren't supposed to have a lot of x-rays, so she goes behind a heavy screen to be sure the x-rays don't reach her.
There we go.
So we're probably looking at about 5-7 minutes on each side.
They have a TV right in the ceiling.
Heat of the season. Get hot tips and techniques from
Mom says that's so people will have something else to think about when they're having their teeth fixed. Mom and Dad are still at work when we get home from school. Emma's friend Michelle is visiting us today. Our tramp has a safety net around the edge.
1, 2, 3.
The only thing we have to be careful about is not jumping on top of each other. When we're done playing on the tramp, we say hello to our pets. We have 3 rabbits, 3 dogs, and a goldfish. Emma's also raising chickens in our basement for a 4-H club project. I got my face painted like a dog in art class today. When Mom gets home, she wants me to wash it off because I have a piano lesson this afternoon. Maybe she thinks I'll scare my teacher. I go over my homework before I go to my music lesson. I'm learning to read and write music. My teacher lives about 5 minutes away. I also take jazz dancing lessons from another teacher. When we get home, we find that Dad has started making supper.
There she is.
Well, cut them probably smaller.
You want them thinner?
No, well.
Or small?
We all pitch in. I take the green beans in the living room, where I break the stems off. Then I can watch TV at the same time. Emma and Sarah set the table. Mom cooks the fish, and Dad makes a salad. We're going to have a fish called halibut Daddy caught yesterday. Mom likes Dad to help with work around the house, especially because she works outside of the home. After supper, I fold and put away my clothes. Then it's time to take a bath. I can tell that my mom is tired, and so am I, but we watch TV for a little while. Before I go to bed, I feed my fish. Sometimes I wonder how my goldfish feels living in the house of a fisherman.
Speckles.
Name again, Hannah. There you go. Give me a kiss. I love you.
Good night.
It's early morning on Monday, October 11th. I'm getting up a little later than usual because we don't have school today. That's because it's Thanksgiving Day. My name is John, and I live with my parents and 2 older brothers on the outskirts of Toronto, which is the largest city in Canada. This morning, Adrian, Paul, and I are raking leaves at our grandparents' home, which is just a few blocks from our house. This afternoon, we'll all go to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving dinner. When we finish raking, we go to church for a special Thanksgiving Mass. Sometimes my brothers and I help the priest as altar servers. And Mom and Dad often give out communion and help with baptisms. Most people in Canada are Catholics or Protestants. After church, we have some time to play video games. We all have jobs to do around the house. My chores are to clean the bathroom once a week, set the table, unload the dishwasher, and brush Charlie, our dog, twice a week. This week, it's also Adrian and my turn to walk Charlie twice a day. We take a plastic bag with us to clean up after him. We've had Charlie since I was 7 years old, and I'm 11 now.
Sit. Shake. Other. Bow. Good dog.
My brothers and I all play musical instruments, and sometimes we play together. Adrian and I play guitar, and Paul plays the drums. Yesterday, Adrian left his guitar at a friend's house, so he can't jam with us today. It's 3 o'clock. Time to go to Thanksgiving dinner. Dad's sister Kathleen and her 2 daughters live about a half-hour away. Aunt Barbara and Uncle Peter and their sons Daniel and Robert have also come for Thanksgiving. Before dinner, we play catch in front of Aunt Kathleen's house. Aunt Kathleen and Dad are finishing dinner. Aunt Kathleen is making a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. She mashes cooked potatoes and then mixes butter, cream, salt, and pepper into them. I love mashed potatoes. Dad takes the bread stuffing out of the turkey. Aunt Kathleen adds a little flour to the juice from the turkey to make gravy for the potatoes. Dad cuts the meat off the turkey. My cousin, Mary Ann, fills our glasses with milk. Dinner is buffet style, which means we get our food before we sit down at the table. The grown-ups are at one table with us kids at the other. Before we eat, I say a prayer to give thanks for the meal. We're having turkey and stuffing, turnips, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes and gravy, Brussels sprouts, cranberry sauce, milk, and wine. My aunt says that everything we're having is made or grown in Canada, except the coffee and tea. Aunt Kathleen made apple and pumpkin pies for dessert. If we can't decide which one we want, we get to have a piece of both. I like Thanksgiving.
You have to have like a 65 average to stand. That's low.
After dinner, we kids watch The Simpsons.
Okay. Bye, Emily.
Bye, Em. See you later, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye, Marianne. And you're older than I thought you were.
It's dark by the time we leave for home. Tomorrow's a school day, so I'm off to bed.
Nice and shy. Let's go. Go ball. Break that up 7.
It's 7:30, and it's time to get up for school.
Let's go, guys.
Adrian and I share a bedroom. He gets to sleep a little later while I take a shower and get dressed. Today, I'm wearing my favorite color. The fence across our stairs keeps Charlie downstairs.
Easel.
Dad and I go over the words I have to know for a spelling test I have today.
Poem.
If I spell a word wrong, I write it 5 times so I'll remember it.
Okay, you write those out.
Charlie's always interested in what we're eating, but we're not supposed to give him things from the table because it teaches him to beg for food every time we eat. Charlie gets his own dog food, and it's Paul's job to feed him this week.
Boston down 8-2.
We still have a few minutes before we leave to watch the sports news to see if our favorite teams won their games yesterday. It's 8:30 and time to leave for school. Paul goes to a high school, and Adrian and I go to the senior public school, where we're in grades 6 and 8. Paul's school is close enough for him to walk. When it's nice, Adrian and I can ride our bikes, but it won't be too long before we'll have snow and we'll have to take the school bus. Mom's been up since 5. She says she needs to get up early so she has time to do laundry or clean. Mom and Dad both work in downtown Toronto, and they take turns staying here until we leave for school. But one day a week, Mom works from home. She likes that because often it takes her an hour and a half to drive to work. She works for a computer company. Her job is to check financial reports from each area of the company to make sure that they're doing what they say they're doing. She reports what she finds out to the people in charge so they know how well the company is doing. Dad's also getting ready to leave for work, and Charlie likes to help. Charlie has a thing about shoes. He loves to carry them around. Dad says it's because Charlie's a yellow Labrador retriever. They're hunting dogs that have been bred to find birds that have been shot and bring them to the hunter. Charlie isn't supposed to chew on a bird, so he doesn't chew on the shoes. He just carries them around. So, if we're missing a shoe, we always check with Charlie first. Dad can either drive his car or take a train to work in downtown Toronto. Today he's taking the train, so he leaves his car at the train station, which is about 10 minutes from our house. In the half-hour ride to work, he reads or goes over paperwork. Winters here can get pretty cold, so lots of downtown Toronto is connected by underground walkways. When he gets downtown, Dad can walk all the way from the train to his building without going outside. He says there are more than 25 kilometers of underground walkways that have stores, banks, and even restaurants.
Good morning. How are you today? Thanks. You too, bye-bye.
Dad works for a company that loans money to businesses so they can buy things they're going to sell. They also loan money to people who want to buy houses. Dad's job is similar to Mom's because he also checks other people's work to be sure it's right. Toronto is built on the shore of Lake Ontario. We learned that Canada is one of the most urban countries in the world, which means that most people in Canada live in cities and work in factories, stores, and offices. Not far from Dad's office is the CN Tower, which is the tallest tower in the world. That little spot you see moving on the side of the tower is the elevator carrying people to the top, where they can get a great view of Toronto. Visitors to the top of the tower can walk on a glass floor. It's safe, but it's still scary. Canada is a democracy where the people decide how the country should be run. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories. I can remember when Nunavut, the newest territory, was formed from part of the Northwest Territories. Most people in Nunavut are Inuit, who are part of the fishing and hunting peoples who were here before the Europeans came. The Northwest Territories are so far north that in summer, the sun never goes down, and in winter, the sun only comes up for a few hours each day. When I get to school, I go to my homeroom. The first thing we do is sing the national anthem.
The what?
The Arctic Tern?
Arctic Tern. And so you know how to spell it.
My first class is biology. Today we're studying how plants and animals are named.
Tern. Like that. And it travels or migrates 8,500 miles back and forth between the what? Yeah, the North and South Pole.
We bring lunch from home and eat in the gym. After lunch, we have time to go outside for a half hour. Canada's national sports are lacrosse and ice hockey, but my favorite is basketball, and I play on a city team. After lunch, we have art class. There are about 28 students in each class.
So look at your shape. What could it be? What does it remind you of?
The population in our area is growing so fast that our school doesn't have enough room for all the students. So some classes are held in temporary classrooms like this. Education is free in Canada, and so is health care. Mom says that's because Canadians want everyone to have an education and to get health care, no matter how much money they have. French class is next. French and English are the official languages of Canada, so we study both languages until at least the 9th grade. Today we're rehearsing a French play. Most people in the province of Quebec speak French. That's because when the British took over Canada 200 years ago, most French people settled in Quebec. Dad says people from all over the world come to live in Canada because they have opportunities to make a better life here.
Très bien, tu es contente.
We get out of school at 3 o'clock. Today, I have a guitar lesson, so Mom drops me off and goes grocery shopping nearby while I have my lesson. When we get home, I help Mom put away the groceries. All the information on packaged food here must be written in both English and French. And government information and traffic signs are in both languages, too. Tonight, I'm doing research for a paper on penguins that's due in 2 weeks. I really like penguins, so I'm enjoying finding information about them. I save the articles I find in my computer so I can use information from them when I write my paper. At 9 o'clock, I brush my teeth and get ready for bed. I like to read for a half hour before I go to sleep. Good night.